In the vast canvas of the cosmos, where stars twinkled like scattered diamonds against the eternal night, the SS Radiant Dawn sliced through the void. On board, Corin stood before the large viewport, his eyes tracing the swirling nebulae and drifting asteroids. He was far from the verdant, alien landscapes of his homeworld, now lost to memory and distance. His skin, a subtle shade of cerulean, caught the dim light inside the ship, casting him in an almost ethereal glow. Today marked not just another rotation of the galaxy's countless suns, but the beginning of Corin's first day in a human high school, an initiation rite unfamiliar and daunting. The concept of school was not alien to him, but the intricate social rituals of human adolescence were a labyrinthine puzzle. His new guardian, Captain Rennick, had assured him it was a place of learning and growth. Yet as the ship descended toward Earth, his stomach knotted with a cocktail of anticipation and dread. "Remember, Corin," Captain Rennick had said earlier, his voice both stern and kind, "this school is like any other new planet. Observe, learn, and adapt. You're a quick study." Easy for him to say, Corin thought, not for the first time. Captain Rennick, with his weathered face and battle-scarred hands, had seen more of the universe than most could dream. But high school? That was a different kind of battlefield. As the radiant dawn entered the atmosphere, the ship shuddered slightly, atmospheric friction singing softly against the shields. Below them, the sprawling cityscapes of Earth came into view, clusters of light and life pulsating across the darkened land. Corin pressed his forehead against the cool glass, his breath fogging a small circle on the surface. The ship landed with a grace that belied its size, settling on the designated pad with a finality that felt all too decisive. Captain Rennick clapped a hand on Corin's shoulder, a gesture meant to reassure. "You'll do fine," he said, though his eyes betrayed a hint of paternal concern. Stepping off the ship, Corin felt the weight of Earth's gravity, a subtle but constant pull, unlike the artificial gravity aboard the ship. The air smelled of ozone and rain, a stark contrast to the recycled air of space vessels. His first steps on Earth were tentative, as if the ground might shift beneath him. The high school wasn't far from the landing site, a sprawling complex of buildings and green spaces, vibrant with the chaos of youth. Human students in groups, large and small, navigated pathways and lawns, their laughter and shouts a cacophony of life. Corin adjusted the straps of his backpack, a mundane action, but one that grounded him. He walked toward the school, each step a silent mantra of Captain Rennick's advice: observe, learn, adapt. Entering the main building, Corin was swept into the current of students. The hallways were a riot of colors and sounds, lockers slamming, teachers shepherding, students negotiating social tides. He was an outsider here, his height and blue skin drawing curious looks and whispered speculations, but amidst the sea of faces, one stood out. A girl, with hair the color of autumn leaves, caught his gaze. Her smile was a brief, brilliant flash across the crowded space, a lighthouse in the stormy social waters of high school. Her name, he would soon learn, was Emily, and she would change everything. Corin took a deep breath, stepping deeper into the maelstrom of his new life, under the watchful eyes of stars hidden by daylight. The adventure was just beginning, and the universe, vast and mysterious, watched in silent anticipation. Chapter 2. Echoes of the Past. The stars had never seemed so distant, not even when Corin had watched them from the cold, iron-barred confines of a slaver's hold. Now, from the wide, open windows of Captain Rennick's quarters, they twinkled softly, a silent chorus in the vast choir of the galaxy. But their gentle sparkle couldn't wash away the shadows that clung to Corin's memory, a darker universe where light was a rare commodity. Corin's earliest memories were fragmented, like shards of a shattered mirror. He remembered the suffocating darkness of a cargo hold, the stench of fear and unwashed bodies, and the metallic taste of despair that seemed to linger on his tongue. He was young then, too young to comprehend the enormity of his situation, ripped from his home, a planet lush with verdant jungles and ringing with the melodious calls of unseen creatures sold into the cold hands of interstellar slavers. The slavers were creatures of shadow and steel, moving through the galaxy like a plague. They trafficked in flesh and fear, and to them, Corin was just another commodity, a young telepath with untrained powers that fetched a high price in certain corners of the cosmos. He, along with other children, some human, some not, were crammed into the hold of a ship that smelled of oil and terror, bound for markets unknown. Rescue had come unexpectedly. Captain Rennick, a figure as formidable as the storms of the gas giants, had led a raid on the slavers' outpost. It was supposed to be a simple mission to intercept illegal weapons, but upon discovering the captives, the mission's priority changed. Rennick's team swept through their captors with a ferocity that was whispered about in the bars of space stations and pirate dens alike. Corin's liberation from the slavers was not just a release from physical chains, but the beginning of a much longer journey towards freedom from the psychological ones. Captain Rennick, recognizing the potential and raw talent in the boy, took him under his wing. The grizzled captain was not a man given to displays of affection or long speeches about feelings. His care was shown through quieter gestures, books on history and philosophy instead of toys, lessons in self-defense, and most importantly, lessons in controlling and harnessing his telepathic abilities. Under Rennick's guidance, Corin learned to tap into the minds around him with precision, a skill that was both a gift and a curse. To hear the unspoken thoughts of others, to feel their rawest emotions as if they were his own, was overwhelming. Yet it also forged him into a being who could empathize deeply with the pain of others, perhaps too deeply at times. The stars shifted, a silent reminder that the universe was always moving, always changing, and as Corin stood there, looking out at the cosmos, he realized so was he. No longer a frightened child, but not yet a confident adult. He was somewhere in between, standing on the threshold of a future he could shape into something brighter, something better. It was this thought that steeled him as he prepared to face a new and daunting challenge. High school on Earth, a planet as alien to him as he was to it. Chapter 3. A New Classmate. The first light of dawn was just a whisper across the horizon as Corin approached the massive, gleaming structure of Harrison High. Its towering glass and steel facade reflected the rising sun, turning the building into a beacon amidst the sleepy town. Despite the early hour, Corin's heart thrummed with a mixture of dread and excitement. Today marked his first day in a human high school. He paused at the main entrance, his slender fingers tracing the alien symbols etched into his bracelet, a memento from a home he scarcely remembered. Taking a deep breath that did little to calm his fluttering nerves, he pushed the door open and stepped into a new world. Inside, the hallways buzzed with the energy of hundreds of students. Groups clustered together, laughing and shouting over one another in a cacophony of youthful exuberance. Their casual ease with each other only deepened Corin's sense of isolation. With his silver-scaled hair neatly combed back and his eyes a striking shade of violet, he felt conspicuously out of place among the sea of human faces. Corin navigated through the crowd, his telepathic senses involuntarily picking up snippets of surface thoughts, excitement about an upcoming game, stress over a test, a lingering sadness from a broken heart. He quickly shielded his mind, unaccustomed to the overwhelming emotional noise. As he turned a corner, he nearly collided with a girl whose presence seemed to momentarily quiet the chaos around him. She was about his age, with lively green eyes and hair the color of autumn leaves. Her smile, warm and unguarded, was directed at him. "Hey, you must be new here," she said, stepping back slightly. "I'm Emily. And you are?" "Corin," he replied, his voice a soft murmur barely audible over the surrounding din. Emily's eyes lit up with recognition. "Oh, you're the exchange student from—" She trailed off, her brow furrowing slightly as she tried to recall the details. "Capella 4, Corin filled in, a hint of pride in his tone despite the bitter memories associated with that world. That's right, Emily exclaimed. I heard about you in Mr. Henderson's class. He said we'd be having a student from another planet. Must be pretty exciting, huh? Seeing Earth for the first time? Corin nodded, unsure how to explain that Earth was both wondrous and intimidating. It's different, he managed to say, his gaze flickering around the bustling hallway. Well, if you need someone to show you around or explain the weirdly human stuff we do, I'm here. Actually, I have to head to the library now, but you can walk with me if you want. Grateful for the unexpected kindness, Corin agreed, and they started walking together toward the library. As they moved, Emily chattered about various school clubs, the best places to eat in town, and the little quirks of their teachers. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and for a moment, Corin allowed himself to feel a spark of hope that perhaps he could find a place here. As they reached the library, Emily paused, her expression turning thoughtful. You know, Corin, I think you'll like it here. People can be great when you get to know them. And hey, maybe you'll teach us a thing or two about Capella 4. Her words, meant to comfort, reminded Corin of the vast gulf of experiences between them. Yet he smiled, the first genuine smile since he'd landed on Earth, touched by her effort to bridge that gap. Maybe I will, he said, the bell ringing through the hall, signaling the start of another school day. As Emily waved goodbye and disappeared into the library, Corin felt the weight of his alienation lessen slightly. Maybe, just maybe, this strange new world could one day feel like home.